know how much longer we could be friends if you guys just backpedal on everything. And
Wait a second, dude. You are the biggest backpedaler of all time. And first of all, I didn't give it such a great grade.
You said it's the most moving thing you've witnessed in the last 20 years.
And no, I didn't. I think that was your exact wording, Vlad. Yeah,
that's exactly. If you put it through the fucking idiot filter.
Podcast Cosmic.
Welcome everybody to the Podcast Cosmic, episode 20. Double X, not triple X, but double X. Welcome. This is a big episode. This is another milestone for us. So let's go around the horn. I'm Vle.
I'm Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave up on vowels. So before
our viewer knows who we are.
They do know who we are. They do know. They meaning they in the
non-binary sense.
Non-binary sense. Yes. Not that there's anything wrong with
Miller's watching us.
Ezra Miller's watching us from their New Hampshire retreat filled with guns and children. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Okay. Great. Anyway, before we start. Click that subscribe button below and follow button and the icon and the bell, and all our hashtags are below. Just please follow us and like. This week we're obviously going to be talking about the end of Obi-Wan. Well, not quote unquote the end, because we probably feel that there's going to be another season or something.
Really sad.
Right? We will talk about Miss Marvel and some news around that, touch on the episodes and some news on that. Some other Marvel news, obviously Thor is on its way, and we will talk about some rumors and casting news. Of course, you're gonna like. What don't you like?
The casting news.
Okay. We'll talk, yeah, but that's not going to stop you. And some other Marvel news, and then before we also kind of delve into Star Wars, we want to give a shout out to our boy Ked down below. Go see Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. Our boy down below kind of just sprung it on us that he was doing a lot of artwork on that. Keith, would you like to say anything about that pretty quickly? Give it a plug.
Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, streaming now on Paramount Plus. Go check it out.
Wait. Let me just say something here. I have to say this.
Not you, Jay. Not you, Jay.
No, I have to say this. Keith he pisses us all off because we know he's working on shows all the time. The man is constantly drawing, working in animation. But you say, hey, Keith, what are you working on? I can't tell you. There's an NDA.
Can you
Where are your fucking best friends?
Put your hand down, please. Because
hand down.
It's making me dizzy because you're cutting into the Podcast Cosmic icon background.
You can't control me. I'm out of here, man. So, Keith,
yeah.
Where are your friends? You could tell us shit.
It's not written in the NDA, so I can't.
You know what? Go get some red lines. Let's give it to us. I'll give it to a legal department. We'll just put in no non-disclosure agreement except telling the bald idiot whatever you want him to know about. Right? Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you very much.
We're very, very happy and proud for you.
And listen, for those that didn't know, we got a bunch of great artists on the podcast. Keith and George are both artists. Keith's been working in animation for years. If you were to see some of the stuff he could do, it's just fucking phenomenal.
You can't see it because there's an NDA on it.
I do.
Oh,
well, the current stuff. You can check out all the old stuff.
Nobody cares about your old stuff.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Are we done patting ourselves on the back and giving ourselves reach arounds? Shall we talk about Obi-Wan?
Let's jump into it.
Who wants to go first?
For somebody who was enjoying the series despite running ramshod over what I consider to be my love of Star Wars and the stuff I held sacrosanct, the last episode was a complete and utter fucking letdown, terrible, no matter how you slice it. It was bad in every way possible. There was not one redeeming quality in it. What, you got to see a gross use of force powers between a very kind of emotional two characters who have a lot of history together. And we didn't need to see that. We didn't need to see them throwing rocks and mountains at each other. All I needed to see was the emotional stuff, for them to have some dialogue in between their lightsaber duel. I didn't need to see them, pick up mountains and trees and cover each other with fucking silt and dirt for 30 minutes.
Can I ask you? I mean,
Then
I'm
you had
not,
the
I'm not, I'm not,
I don't like
I'm
my
not
Star
agreeing
Wars
or
with
disagreeing.
anime action.
No, okay,
I
I
don't
understand
like
that, but I do have a question about going back to one particular thing that you said about you like the dialogue, right? You wanted more dialogue. Have you
wanted
gone
more
back?
emotional
No. Have you gone back? I'm being totally honest now because it's something I wrestled with as well. Have you gone back and seen the battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith recently? Have you seen it recently?
I'd have to go back. Wow.
Okay. The one thing that has stuck out with me for many years is that even then there was a lack of dialogue. I expected a lot more dialogue between the two of them. That was a slight disappointment for me. Look, everybody had their preconceptions going into Sith about what that battle was going to be like. And the expectations were, and I'm sorry, I don't want to take away from Obi-Wan, but in Sith, you were these are two characters. It's, that at this point are still like brothers, right? And it's so far, there was very little dialogue between them. There was a dialogue at the beginning. You will try. Only a Sith deals in absolutes. And then there's really nothing up until the last part. Think about that for a second.
No, you can think about it all you want. To me, it's a kind of pointless discussion. To me, there's only the original trilogy. And again, there's not a huge amount of dialogue between Vader and Obi-Wan during that, right? There's not a huge amount, but what is there was impactful, even though we didn't know a lot of the history, really. It's all being made up in that story. What we get in this series is just force pushing them together. The story is just continuously, and then you have the Reva. Reva's only purpose was to push them together, and I guess create Reva as a character. And she ends up being a completely pointless, useless addition to the Star Wars universe to me. I had really high hopes for her. I thought she could be an exciting character. And maybe had they done an individual storyline of just her, the adventures of Reva, or this is Reva, that would have been an interesting storyline. I think Adam Dickstein, an old friend of ours, kind of like threw that out there. Maybe that might have been interesting.
Wouldn't have been.
Meshing her into this, giving us young Luke and Leia. I mean, the whole episode is filled with stupidity. Like, one of the things that really annoyed me, two things specifically annoyed me, probably more than the big, anime fight they had to have. Like, they reached back to the games and to the TV shows to figure out how to do a force battle between, Vader and Obi-Wan, which was, to me, a huge mistake. But the two things that really disgusted me in the show was, he's on the Inquisitor vessel, or on his vessel, tracking down the ship as they're escaping. Obi-Wan decides to escape. There's no threat while they're in the ship, right? It's not shaking very little. Nobody's crying. Nobody's worried about imminent destruction or anything. So everybody ignore that for a second. He has this little, oh, Leia, you're so special. I'm going to go do this. Don't worry about it. And he goes in an escape pod or whatever, and he flies off. Vader, right, in his great, because they're such, thoughtful writers, turns whatever the ship, the destroyer, I don't know the ship specifically, makes them go follow what's his face, because I agree that's what he would have done, because nothing else matters but Obi-Wan. I agree with that. But then he leaves the ship to chase him in a shuttle. So there's no reason to turn the ship around. He should have just left in the shuttle and had a personal battle with Obi-Wan. So you got that piece of stupidity there. And then you have the stupidity at the end. All right, I got to get to Luke. I don't know what the hell Reva's doing. Shit's hitting the fan. He goes back, saves him. Everything's settled. Everything's okay. I got to stay here because I have to protect Luke. Who knows what could happen? It's a mysterious universe and there's danger everywhere. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a quick jaunt to go see Leia for 5 minutes, have a quick conversation that wasn't even 3 minutes, hug her, get back in my ship, and travel back to Tatooine. That's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. What did he have to go there for? Nothing. It's all pointless rubbish to have a show. In the end, it was less than, even Vlad, when we were talking about this originally, less than I even gave it credit that it could be. It just walked all over what me as a fan, I as a fan love about Star Wars, added nothing to it, and didn't even stay internally consistent. The best part of the entire series to me was the Grand Inquisitor coming back, giving us a little sarcasm when he steps over Reva and takes his pin back.
Wait, you're going to turn. Wait, you think Ewan McGregor's performance?
Yeah, I'm going there. I'm saying this episode shat the bed for the entire series. Everything is wasted because of this episode. And then we got all we got is a fan service, fan fiction for, I don't know, people who like anime on the internet, who whack off to like CGI video game
Did
stuff.
you watch the fight scenes in the prequels?
You go into the prequels. Me and Vlad are very different on this.
This is what this series is. It's the prequels. Okay. Did you watch the fight scenes in the prequels? I mean, the fight scene like he was talking about in Revenge of the Sith, that was fucking anime. They're jumping and hovering on a fucking little robot. This one at least was relatively grounded for the most part, outside of the throwing rocks, which Vader did in Empire Strikes Back when he was throwing shit all over at Luke. You know, compared to the fight scenes in the prequels, this was a lot more grounded and more similar to the original trilogy than anything in the prequels. So, and then you were bitching that you want spectacle. Then they give you spectacle, and then you bitch.
Yeah, but spectacle and the emotional.
But there was the emotional stuff, and there was a little bit of the spectacle. For you, if you don't see that, then it's because you were predetermined not to like it, and any excuse not to like it, you were just fine with it.
As soon as he landed there and was walking across the wasteland into the rocky grotto or whatever, I was thinking to myself, all right, this might be cool. They're going to have a battle. They're going to talk while they're fighting. We're going to get some emotional stuff. But he just beats Vader. That's really all it's about.
Well, right? Look, okay. No, I mean, anything else? I mean,
no,
I will give I'll ask everybody once we've all said our piece, like what would grade the entire series.
I'm not sure where they go, because I heard rumors. I think we talked about this in the other episode. I'm sorry I kind of ranted there, but it really
You're not sorry, but that's fine.
You're not sorry because
it disgusted me. But I don't know where they go with the secondary, another series. What we're
I will. I want to touch on that, okay. But I want all of us to kind of give. I'm not defending it. I believe I think I understand what they're trying to do. I'm not saying it's a wise move, what they want to do, but we'll talk about it. I want to go around. George, let's take, are you done, Artie, with yours?
The last bit I would say is the bit with Qui-Gon that bothered me. Again, I understand how Force Ghosts are used a lot in this series. They appear at pivotal times just to have an emotional with a character. And I get that, like in the end of Jedi, here or there. But to me, it could have been something to help him through what he needed to get through.
Well, there was the discussion that potentially, there's rumors, and I don't know if they're substantiated or not, that Qui-Gon was supposed to show up during the battle.
Yeah, and I would have appreciated that more, because what we basically got was this at the end.
He's the chosen one. Obi-Wan could have killed him. He didn't kill him. That's another thing that people are like, okay, so
that would have had something. That would have had some meaning. That would have had some depth.
But that goes to writing.
Yeah.
That goes to writing again. We'll talk about that. Are you done?
Qui-Gon would have appeared where?
During the battle with Obi-Wan and Vader.
Remember, he's buried and he's in a moment of crisis. And he has to find.
Well, that moment, I think what ends up happening, I think, is that Obi-Wan figures out. He's been you remember Qui-Gon, and I'm sorry, I'm stealing from New Rockstars, but he focuses on the living force, meaning the children that are alive, because he's been dealing with all the trauma and the guilt of Anakin, of all this other stuff, his failures and stuff like that. And then finally he realizes that he has something that he has to fight for, which is he has to fight. And I think that's what opens him up ultimately. I think there's two things that open him up. It's that he realizes that why he's able to see Qui-Gon at the end, because remember what Qui-Gon says. He goes, you weren't ready, but then he's ready. And I think it's also that he absolved himself. He absolved himself of the guilt of Anakin.
And now he could be a babysitter for Luke, bring some toys over and play.
And again, according to this, and I'm not saying it's right, but according to this,
anything, did you watch the end at all? Because he already said that he's not going to watch over Luke.
He has
see Luke again.
He'll see Luke, but he's not going to.
He should not have gone to see Luke.
Why?
Wait a second. Why? You don't see? Did you pick up on? And I'm not defending it right now. I'm just. No, wait. I have not told you what my problems with it are, but I'm just gonna because there's logic lapses.
And you're gonna play with it.
Dude, that
inspire you for the stars.
Well, yes. Yes.
Could have just given it to Ben.
To Ben, he gave
Ben. What?
The whole point of it is
you need to watch it with the subtitles on because I feel like you just missed out like so much.
I'm not saying it was executed properly. And we'll talk about it when I get to my stuff.
Best thing ever, no, but it's not I mean, there were a couple of things I would have changed.
Why don't we segue into George's take on the show?
You're choking up over
it.
It's okay. No, it's very emotional there.
Yeah, the kid who played Luke, that was a good choice.
Why? What did he do that made him a bad choice?
Him and Leia, I didn't need to see it all. They were just terrible actors.
I thought Leia was fine. I'm sorry. I thought Leia was fine. Luke wasn't around enough. Luke wasn't around enough to make a judgment. Anyway, George, please.
I can't just believe this shit. The fact that I have to defend this show is just annoying the shit out of me.
Don't defend it.
Because it was fun. I had no preconceived notions about it. I didn't have any predetermined thing that I'm going to fucking despise it like you did. I just went in and said, let's see what they do. If it's fun, and that's it. Again, for me, this is all special edition canon. The original trilogy that we saw is not part of this universe. This is a fucking multiverse of special editions where Greedo shot first and all this other fucking nonsense. So my original trilogy is pocketed away someplace else, and that's what I could love. And now I can enjoy Star Wars for the most part outside of that. And for me, it was a fun show. I got what they were trying to do. There was a lot of stupid things I think they should have changed. Like I would have had Ben fake his death at the end instead of just leaving Vader as it was. But I thought the fight scene was fun between them. I'm surprised that there wasn't any kung fu flips or anything. It was emotional, I thought. There was a lot of emotional stuff. There was.
No, I agree with you.
Just because you're a bitter old man and you can't see that is not my fault. Okay? You're like fucking Palpatine of this podcast. And there's your little Sith right there. Anyway. Again, Reva, though, just kind of the only time I liked Reva was that scene at the end with her and Ben. That was the only time I thought she acted well in this entire series. But that, again,
I mean, people may turn around and say that was all calculated, that it was impossible, everything that she was doing, she was trying to play bad when she was always good. And look, I understand what they were trying to do with the character.
I don't think she handled it. I think another actress could have probably handled it differently. But I also think her character was kind of not needed. She was not necessary to the story.
Well,
they could have used somebody from Fallen Order to fill that in. But again, I enjoyed it for what it was. It was better than Boba Fett. Had a much better final episode, I thought, for the most part. And it didn't need the Mandalorian or Luke and Ahsoka to bail it out. So, and I like the kids. I thought they were fantastic kid actors, and I hope that Luke gets an Emmy for Best Supporting Actor in a fucking limited series.
And he thanks Artie when he wins.
Yes, there's one scene where he gets to do this.
I want to thank that bald dick on the fucking podcast Cosmic for shitting all over me. This is for you, asshole.
Hey, Keith, bring some sense and rationality back to
this. No sense though, because Keith hates everything.
No, he didn't. I can see from his face he's gonna drop bombs.
Like Arcane. That's all I need to hear about Keith's
taste. Look at that deep thought, reflection. You just went off at the mouth. He's over there.
I went off at the mouth.
I will say that the last 2 episodes lacked a lot of TIE fighters.
What? Really? Okay.
Yeah,
You know something?
they don't
I
use
am
TIE fighters
surprised.
apparently. You know,
I'm
apparently
surprised
they-
that I'm surprised that Vader didn't use his TIE fighter. You
Yeah.
know, his advanced TIE advanced to go down and check out.
they didn't bring out
Obi-Wan.
TIE fighters to shoot down the land speeders. They had a whole base of TIE fighters, I think, that they just showed that we never. I guess weren't working at the time.
What land
Uh,
speeders?
He was
land-
talking about snow speeders. Snow speeders.
The snow
Oh.
speeders, land
So
speeders.
basically,
whatever the
you get to
speeders.
do a show.
Yeah.
So basically, you got nothing to say.
Well, fuck you too. What the fuck is
It's a
that?
love fest. This is a love
Really? You
fest.
got nothing to say? You had nothing to say. You're a bunch of
What do you mean?
garbage.
You don't even
Bunch
pay
of ass
attention.
kissing. What you want Obi-Wan? I love you. Let me give you.
That's right. Like his name is Oliver, and it's a
What the
We're
fucking
gonna hit 100 views on this one. I can see it. This one's gonna be
What
real
the
good.
fuck, man? All right, easy there, attack dog. Can I say
Think
something
of-
now? Did you have? Oh, no. Do you want more? You have something else to say?
Right.
You have more to say first? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm
I
gonna
didn't
have
mean to
fun
interrupt you,
editing
George.
this one. Okay.
What's the edit? It sucked.
Okay.
Um,
Keith, dude, just keep on going, Keith. What
yeah,
else?
no. So I mean, yeah, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It just was, and I didn't care really. I just didn't care.
Okay.
That's
And
kind of
that's
where
the
I'm at that.
point, right?
And that's a shame because it should have been fun. It should have been.
May I speak?
I agree with George that I think Obi-Wan should have faked his death. I think that would have made more sense at least.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, Viva was pointless. The whole ending thing with Owen and Ben and not Ben, Owen and you, it was kind of goofy. Just a lot of goofy, dumb things that are just, I agree. Again, I agree with George. It was definitely the prequel. It's definitely a prequel movie, like follow up to it. But my only thing I take back from that is that it's a prequel, yes, but it's supposed to go into the original series. I don't see the transitioning. I just saw it just as something.
Way into the special editions.
Even then, it still had some of the original in it. I mean, you can, shit
I
on
mean,
the special editions.
Can
but
I ask you?
it's still,
No, George. Can
Yeah.
you keep on bringing up the special editions? And I
Yeah.
do have a question about that.
Yeah.
Other than those radical changes that we're talking about, right? Which is like Han shooting first or whatever, Greedo shooting first. Luke's story didn't fundamentally change from the special edition.
They changed a lot of aspects of it. I mean, and
But Obi-Wan's storyline, especially in A New Hope, and everything nothing's changed. The only thing that changed.
but the thing is, they edited to add Hayden Christensen.
But if you look at, I'm talking about Obi-Wan's story in A New Hope.
But Obi-Wan's story in New Hope was they edited didn't they add some dialogue or something? That was
No, they added no dialogue for Obi-Wan.
There was some deleted dialogue that
There was no deleted dialogue for
I could
Obi-Wan.
have sworn there was.
There was no deleted dialogue.
Well, what's very good now.
The only thing that was added in A New Hope, other than the special effects, was the Jabba scene and the Greedo shooting first and flying into coming into Mos Eisley. Coming into Mos Eisley. But nothing for
the trilogy. I think they added a couple of dialogue scenes that were edited out. I could have sworn that was the case.
Then it wouldn't matter.
New Hope,
It's
I don't
not in
know.
there.
not in A New Hope. I don't remember anything.
Ones.
Well,
Well, that's
nothing
like the
changed.
trilogy.
The only thing that changed with regards to Ben was that Hayden Christensen showed up instead of Sebastian Shaw, who played.
But
Anakin.
I think there was some dialogue scenes that they added with Ben, and I'm trying to remember.
Listen,
Nope.
yeah, if you could point them out, that'd be good because I don't
I think
remember.
Keith,
I don't
again,
remember anything.
brings a
I
very
don't have them.
sobering.
I threw them away. I have the I have the despecialized on Blu-ray now.
Keith brought a very sobering piece to all of this that I think we should really dwell on for a little bit.
No.
And that there's no point. It wasn't good. It wasn't interesting. It didn't add anything.
Okay.
There's nothing to be excited about. Like, I wish I could have watched that fight between him and Vader, between Obi-Wan and Vader, and been like, man, that was as good as that was as interesting as their Death Star fight.
The Death Star fight was really interesting.
It was to me. And I watched it recently just to go back and watch it. I watched some Vader scenes. I watched some scenes with Leia. I was just like, what the hell? Nothing is memorable. Nothing's going to go, you know what? I'm glad I watched that. I'm going to remember this 30 years down the line. It's the reason why I'm a fan. And that's how gross they are with the franchise, is that they don't care enough. They don't care enough. And if you're not going to care enough to make these pivotal moments, these pivotal stories with these main characters as important, as memorable as scenes and dialogue from the stuff that we love, I don't know what to say.
But the stuff that we love is just 3 movies.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah. I think. I mean, there's aspects of the prequels. There's certain things in the prequels.
There's certain things in the prequels, but yeah, Solo.
No, I mean, there's certain things, in this. Well,
The sequel. I mean, think about it. Everything that you love is just the first 3 movies, and that's it.
well, the problem with the sequel trilogy is that you were excited to see these characters again, and then they weren't treated the way and again, let's look at the parallels. You have all these people that grew up with the prequels, and all of a sudden now you have Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back. Mm-hmm. And even Jimmy Smits, for example, right? He's back in. So you have these characters that people grew up on and they love, especially even from the Clone Wars, because there's been all these sort of, they've kind of built these characters up more than what we've seen them. I know you don't care, Artie, and it's fine.
No, because I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of what you're going, like there can be a whole Adventures of Young Leia show.
Well, look, okay,
Adventures of
these are no different. Okay, all I'm trying to say is that people are excited to see those characters again. And I understand why they are. And to Keith's point, yes, it's kind of a culmination of where the prequel trilogy ended, and this picks up. It's a continuation, so you kind of get more of those characters essentially, like when you see Hayden Christensen or charred Hayden Christensen, when you see that, so you can identify with that, right? So you identify it's the same character from Revenge of the Sith that is in this one, but then it's like, how does it tie into A New Hope? And here's the thing for me. I disagree with you already about the last episode. I thought the last episode had stronger elements than the other episodes. I still think the first episode, the introduction of it was really strong. Second episode, I wasn't crazy about the whole planet. I understood what they were going for. And then, then you understand with Leia, then you have the fake out with the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor. Third episode, I wasn't crazy about the fight with Vader, and I understand where they were going for what they were going for. Fourth episode was basically a Star Wars story of a rescue, which was okay, whatever. Fifth episode was fine. My problem with the fifth episode was the scale was small, and that's a problem I had throughout the entire show. It's like, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've had these 3 movies, these prequels ahead of time. Then you have these following, you have the originals here, and then you have this story about these key characters, and everything felt cheap and smaller. And then when you get to the 6th episode, my thing about the 6th episode is it had some emotionally good payoff scenes. Artie, I know you don't care to say it. The scene between Ben and Leia, regardless of how.
Which one, on the shuttle or on the or
Princess Leia, when he says what he says about her parents
at the end. And
when he says, may the force be with you, princess, there is no way, if you do not get emotional during that scene. And again, this is somebody who's not crazy about the show, but if you do not get emotional during that scene, you have no heart, because that scene is powerful as shit. Now, mind you,
we can't. Should I be offended?
Yeah, you should. You can't. You because really it is a very.
Shock,
it's a very powerful scene. It is. It's a well done scene, which unfortunately doesn't necessarily make up for the rest of the show. And again, the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan, I'll be honest with you guys. I was watching it. I'm like, this is cheap. I don't like that. Again, it's in the dark. It feels like it's a Sandlot. I was expecting something. And remember, the production art had them again. There was the rumor that they were going to be on Mustafar or somewhere like that with lava and all the. They didn't have that, but I expected a little bit more of like a change in terrain and doing stuff. Again, what they were trying to do in the 6th episode, was they were trying to do the same cut, sort of the same, the simultaneous action going on in different locations, which I appreciated that they were trying to do that. that they were trying to show you. Here's what's happening with Reva, which again, I'm like, what was Reva's motivation? To do what with the kid? To kill the kid? To capture the kid? What did she know who the kid was? And I've watched that episode 3 times now, and I'll get to it. But then the Vader scene again, when Obi-Wan lifted the rocks, I know Artie, you're gonna gasp. I mean, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh shit, that's actually kind of wild. Okay, but it was dark, it didn't feel right. And then even what they were going for with him sort of striking Vader and then showing the whole thing, which was basically a Rebels ripoff with Ahsoka. But I like what they were trying to do artistically with the lightsaber color. You know, they were showing you Anakin. They were showing you the blue, like, and when Anakin's like, you didn't kill Anakin, and then it goes to red, and it's like, I did. I understand what they were going for. It just felt cheap. It didn't. I understand what the essence of what they were trying to do, and it was deep, just not deep enough. And then Darth, I like how he throws in, my friend is dead, and Darth, and then he goes. And then I will say, the hello there and the Luke thing, there's no way that doesn't get you. I mean, him seeing him for the first time, I was never under the impression when I first saw Star Wars, and this might be headcanon, but when Luke sees Ben, when he goes hello there, and then he goes, Ben Kenobi, obviously he's seen him before. He knows him, right?
No.
Or he knows of him.
No. How would he know of him and never, and he acknowledges him when he sees him?
He's a guy, an old guy.
When was that ever implied in episode 4 that Luke never saw Ben?
I'm going to go back and watch it now again.
He goes, Ben Kenobi. It's like seeing something, like waking up and going, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
It's not like, who are you? It's like Ben Kenobi.
You're making a leap.
I'm not making a leap. Where I will tell you that I'm making a leap is when Obi-Wan tells Leia that we can't tell anybody, and then again, I'm going to bring up the dreaded sequel trilogy, but based on this show, you now understand why Leia names her son Ben. I whether you agree or not, because if you go by what you've seen in Star Wars, right? I'm not defending this.
Oh, I got you. I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Okay, and now the problems with the show, look, they didn't break canon as much as I thought they would break. Now they scratched up pretty heavy. Now, was it necessary? No. Was the fight with Vader and him necessary? Other than basically, it's like Obi-Wan's 12-step program to becoming the kick-ass Jedi that he was again. So he needs absolution from Vader, and Vader gives him that absolution, going, "Don't worry, buddy. You didn't kill me. I killed you." So basically, I'm telling you what to tell my son in 10 years, in 13 years. So I got that. You know, that's fine. I just wasn't crazy about the way that it was executed or the way it was written. There was emotional moments. There was emotional beats. Look, I got it when he sees Luke and he says hello there, and he gives him and when you see that he's giving him the ship, you understand that there's
here.
And no, and what he's trying to say there is let the future play. I took it as let the future play itself out. It was also kind of Ben kind of saying, hey, by the way,
we did not need that at all.
I agree
all
that
you have to know about the character is
wait. I'm not saying I
don't need anything.
Luke was just a kid who wanted to get out in the stars and have adventures.
He was good. It was in his DNA anyway. And it was just another way of Obi-Wan sort of slyly.
Leia's a scrappy tomboy or something while she was a kid with the Organics. That's all you need to know, man.
But where would you know? Okay. And then in the defense of the show, and again, all I'm saying is I don't think it was well executed completely. And ultimately for me was it necessary? Was it a necessary chapter? It had some cool moments for me that I thought are there iconic moments? To me, the most iconic moment for me was the Ben and the Leia scene, him saying goodbye. I found that to be actually.
You're giving too much weight to it.
No, because I'll tell you why. And I'm not defending the show. I'm just saying I got to look at it from both sides. And where I'm looking at it from
the show, it's okay. You could defend it. You can defend certain aspects.
I'm defending, but I don't defend its existence. I defend certain.
Nothing should exist then if that's the case.
No, things should exist.
No.
You got it. No, what they should have done.
It's not necessary. This is not necessary.
No. It could have been necessary. They could have done a better job, George.
It wasn't
could've done a
necessary.
better job.
It wasn't necessary. But
They could've done
but
a
some
better
of the
job.
scenes that they actually put in were
You can
well
just argue that
executed.
Nothing is necessary.
No, see, now you're going off the
It's-
deep end.
No, because that's what it is. If somebody thinks they have a story to tell, if someone thinks they have a story to tell, whether you think it's good
No,
or
I'm with you 100%. You go and you tell it. I'm telling
Tell
you that.
Haven't we had enough of these stories though? I'm
But I
talking
mean-
about these characters.
No, but
We
I
have.
want to
That's the-
address what George is saying though.
But the
George,
problem is with the characters. You've been rambling. Just take it easy for 5 minutes. The problem is these characters are more popular now than they were 40, 50 years ago. Nobody gave a shit. Alec Guinness wasn't going to do Obi-Wan Kenobi, as a Force ghost doing whatever. People cared about Obi-Wan because of Ewan McGregor. And the people that cared about it were the prequel people. They want to see these characters, whether you give a shit, whether I give a shit, whether Vlad gives a shit, or Keith. It's about the people who latched onto these characters now versus the people who latched onto the characters then.
It is I said it a few episodes ago. I said it's a generational thing. It's not about the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy was what this is to the people who grew up with the prequels. The sequel trilogy was
And
to
that's
us.
what it is.
Was supposed to
whether
be.
you
I'm
think
sorry.
that-
Was supposed to be to us what this is to them. And frankly, they executed this better than the sequel trilogy for me.
I thought so.
But I'm not saying. But that's not giving it high praise in my book. It's not.
But it's better than the sequel. I mean, better than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it is. It is. But I mean, I also think that it's a wasted potential because there's rumors out there.
I think
There's stuff that they cut out that they were supposed to put in that they didn't.
I think they could have done with making it, God, maybe an hour to give it more room to breathe.
It should have been the feature length film. It should have been the feature length film that was originally the case. Guys, remember, Obi-Wan and Boba Fett were supposed to be standalone movies. And they flipped them and they turned them into these things. Now, would we have had all these? Think about whatever I want to say about Rogue One, what I don't like about Rogue One or whatever. But if Rogue One was a series, hint, hint, Andor, whatever they're going to do with Andor, they're going to go off on all these tangents. At least when you look at Rogue One, you're like, okay, they're telling one cohesive story. There's one element for me that I don't care about, okay, which is the Vader part. You take the Vader part out of it, I'm like, okay, you have an interesting Star Wars story here for me, right? That's it. But again, this could have been a movie, like George, what you said. It could have been a movie, and it could have been on a more epic scale.
I don't think it would have saved it. It would be made by these people who make them today.
Well, that's okay. Then you're in agreement with me. I don't feel.
What I wanted to say to what George was saying is, I agree. People should use their voice and make a story that they want to tell with characters that I held sacrosanct. A lot of people own these characters, not me, in their hearts, right? And they may love them at different stages and for different reasons. 100%. I'm with you 100%. Write those stories. But if you're going to take pivotal moments with the characters, right? They were trying to fill a pivotal gap here, right? For whatever reason, they decided we're going to touch on and say, latch on to this, that Obi-Wan and Vader met sometime before, and we're going to talk about that. It's going to be Obi-Wan's journey. We're going to introduce a new character, and she's going to drive that story. They just didn't do it well. And in the end, none of it to me popped. That'd be very interesting. None of you guys have said it. I have not read it anywhere on the net where, and a lot of people that I'm friends with have different opinions than I do, strong different opinions than I do. That said, this was the best Vader I've ever seen. This is something I'm going to carry.
I'm not okay.
Forever.
I'll be the first person to say it. I don't care for Vader porn. I really don't care for Vader porn.
And
I don't need to see. I don't need to see. I understand that this is all this goes back, and I think we've talked about this before, which is like when somebody recreated the sort of the battle on, the lightsaber battle on the Death Star, and they made it much more closer to what it was in the prequels and over the top and stuff. I hate that shit, and people love that. Right. They live for that shit. Now, again, this is a generational thing.
Yep.
When you grew up with the prequels, Do you remember the moment you saw Phantom Menace, and when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, I mean Obi-Wan and Maul go at it after he kills Qui-Gon? That moment where everything just goes like from 0 to 60, and then you're just like, holy fuck. That's what everybody now, what a 10-year-old thinks a lightsaber battle goes. You go back and you watch the lightsaber battles. Now, obviously, my favorite lightsaber battle of all time is still The Empire Strikes Back because of what it stands for. First of all, you feel the weight of the lightsabers in those original movies. You feel like this is something that is heavy. You know, it feels like a broadsword, right? It's different. And now they're so used to this. And to George's point, I don't disagree with George where they're going at in that last battle, where it's sort of not as frenetic, because it can't be as frenetic, because Vader is obviously more spry than he would be in A New Hope, right? So he moves around a little bit more. You know, the little geeky Star Wars things that you pick up on. Vader starts with one hand and then pretty quickly goes to two, which we realize he realizes he's not playing with Obi-Wan, because he does say that one scene. He goes, I see your strength is back, but you're still weak, type of thing, or whatever. But and then when he goes at him and he gets him, and even the little thing that he gives him the scar up here, which is a kind of a nice little touch. You're like, oh, okay, there's a nice little Easter egg. He gives him the scar you were like, because he didn't have it in A New Hope. He didn't have it in Revenge of the Sith. He never got hit in the head. So you're like, okay, whatever. So they tried to have at some moments they had attention to detail, and then other moments it was just a huge lapse in logic, or they just moved the plot along. But again,
I'm sorry, but I did like the sound on it was good with Hayden Christensen and
that whole thing was
really good.
I thought that
was good.
Those and you watch like those. It's missed. That's what it comes down to. There's missed opportunity again. The show, sorry, George, you're going to attack me on this, but was it necessary? It wasn't necessary, right? Okay, fine. It wasn't necessary. Ultimately, it wasn't necessary. So you're going to try to make it the best thing you possibly could. And I will give him this. They didn't fuck up canon as much as I thought they would. Luke was unconscious. You can argue that he never saw a lightsaber. He never saw Reva's lightsaber. Fine. But I'm not defending that. It's fine. So you give him that. Obi-Wan telling Leia nobody can know, and then I've done the mental gymnastics in my head, and I realize I'm here with Ben Kenobi, when in Star Wars, when she realizes, and you can say, oh, she really realizes it's Ben, but then her reaction in The New Hope, this is where I go back to in A New Hope, when she's consoling Luke about losing Ben, right. There's no emotion. There's no emotion there, because she lost somebody who was very near and dear to her, and not near and dear to her, but played a very important role in her development, in her life. Right.
And then we could say about, when Han died in A Force Awakens, and she's consoling Rey and not Chewbacca.
Right. So you can have these arguments. It's like you could have these, you could definitely have these arguments. And again, these are all preconceptions.
Yeah. And I like it now, because Ben could go to Alderaan whenever he wants now.
Well, the whole point is that, and to what I was alluding to earlier, is now by setting this up, you can argue that he's going to go off and help Roken and Haji or whatever they're, or do all this other stuff, or even like it's the Ben and Reva show.
God,
I'm sorry. No. I mean, or Reva's going to show up, on some other show later on, or whatever it's going to be. I think that Roken and Haji would probably end up on something like Andor. I think that's sort of where or he's looking for Quinlan. I personally, Vader and Obi-Wan never need to set eyes on each other again until.
We never should have seen Vader in the show again for any reason. We never.
Yes, they should have showed. I think Vader should have been in every episode, and a bigger part.
Spite Vader, Darth Spitegius. That's what we're going to call you, Darth Spitegius. But anyway, before we move away from this, because we've talked about it for quite a bit.
The one thing I think in the episode that it needed, though, I think Vader, the battle should have been a Tatooine, and Luke should have been watching it.
George, would that have killed you at that point? I mean, let me ask you this: if you saw Luke see, and he had, because the rumor was it was. Now that the show's been out, they apparently changed what was supposed to happen. So they sped up the Reva confrontation with Vader into the 5th episode, and the original ending was Reva does what she does on Tatooine. She has a change of heart. She goes back to Vader. She hasn't confronted Vader. There's been none of this. Like, he knows that she's a youngling or whatever. Goes back to Vader and says, I killed Obi-Wan. So she's hiding his secret. And Vader's like, bullshit. And he kills her. That was supposed to be the original ending. So they
That would have been
changed.
Better.
But I think this is like a backdoor pilot. It's a backdoor pilot for a new character, right?
Which I don't like, because I got splinters watching her every scene. But I think that the series should have ended with Vader thinking he killed Obi-Wan. Because
remember, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Again, and then the point of, why did Obi-Wan not kill him when he should have killed him right there? He walks away from him again. Again, I having watched those scenes, watching even the Vader scene with the Emperor, like I enjoyed seeing the Emperor and kind of him fucking needle him a little bit. My take on it is that this last battle between Vader and Obi-Wan, and did it make him weaker? Did he just, or is there, I got the feeling that there's still this sense that, he still calls him master. He still has this feeling towards him. And I think that's sort of what weakens him, like what the Emperor says, because I think it's all that whole thing about the Sith, right? It's like, you can't have two masters, right? You can't have two masters. So I think there's that whole point. So he's conflicted. I think maybe this is the beginning of the seeds of conflict for Vader, but ultimately that comes to fruition with Luke. But again, I'm just trying to find connective tissue. At the end of the day,
they didn't touch on the like how Vader found out he had a son. Like, I guess he doesn't find out until Empire, right?
Or Star Wars?
At the end of Star Wars, like, when does he realize he has?
He never finds. No, that's it. He never finds it. You never find out. That's a big thing that you never find out in the movies. Apparently, it was done in the comics. It was done in the comics recently, over the last, I think, since Disney took over and it went back to Marvel. Boba Fett actually tells him that he found out that the son of not the son of Skywalker, a pilot named Skywalker destroyed the Death Star. And that's when he realizes, he puts 2 and 2 together, and that's that he realizes, that he has
my
that.
son.
Right.
Of course, it's Boba Fett, because God forbid a universe this big, it's got to be Boba Fett.
So, going around the horn before we move on to Marvel, what's the final grade on the show for you guys?
Trash. It's a complete dumpster fire. They shouldn't.
1 to 10. What do you give it?
It doesn't even make a 1.
Really? Even McGregor's performance doesn't raise it?
It doesn't matter. The show shouldn't exist. It shouldn't exist. It shit the bed completely.
I forget what I gave Boba Fett, but I think I gave it 3 out of 10. I'll give this a 4 out of 10. One better than Boba Fett.
George, what do you give it?
I give it a 15 out of 10.
Seriously, what do you give it? What would you give it?
What did I give Boba Fett? I gave Boba Fett a 5.
Yeah.
I give this one probably maybe a 6.5, 7.
Yeah.
I think as Ewan McGregor broke his back carrying this fucking series. I mean,
his hello there was really good.
Like, especially at that last episode, that whole, but he finds out that Anakin was alive, like that scene, just his face. I mean, his acting just kind of like, just like the prequels, he carried the series. So
unfortunately, yeah, and I know they were trying to echo certain scenes like they did in Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry, Anakin, you were my brother, Anakin. I'm sorry again, Anakin. Like the whole thing. It's even I will do what I must. I will do what I must, which was in Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, Anakin. I mean, not Anakin. I think Ewan McGregor. For me, it's between a 5.5 and a 6. I don't think it's a dumpster fire completely, but I am putting with the caveat that it wasn't a necessary show that needed to be told, other than some performances for me that I thought were, especially Ewan, certain scenes were really kind of good, and it it did not feel like the money they invested in this was put in the right places. It just felt cheap at certain points, and it should have felt more. And I've said it before. It should have been more epic at certain points. And lastly, I know it's its own vehicle, it's its own thing, but the minute you throw in some Star Wars music, you throw in John Williams themes, you throw in Leia's themes, the Force theme, you throw in even the Imperial March, even I get it, you pick and choose, it elevates the scene, but doesn't necessarily save the series for me. So, I mean, there will be a second season. There will be something.
Great.
I kind of hope.
I know that
if they do a second season, then they need to just have him away from Luke, Leia,
and Vader,
and anything else.
Well, the thing is, I mean, and to Artie's point, and I don't disagree here, is, you know, I was under the impression that this guy was in hermititude for 18 years. And I will go as far as saying, why do they call that wizard just a crazy old man? He's probably a crazy old man because he's talking to a ghost, and everybody just sees him talking to him. He's talking to Qui-Gon, but he's talking to himself. So whatever, that's fine. You know, it is what it is. Sometimes I can't square even the way that like when at the end, when you get this feeling that Owen begrudgingly meeting
Luke.
Well, no, Owen at giving Ben to telling Ben he can meet him again. It's hard. Part of it for me is also, and I'm sorry, I'm harping on this because it's coming to mind right now, is that sort of think about Obi-Wan going to, what did Obi-Wan bring to saving Luke at the end of that episode? Nothing. His adopted parents saved him, essentially. Well, he didn't do anything to stop. He didn't stop Reva. He didn't save Owen and Beru.
But he got there in an amazing time. So I'm like, so what is Obi-Wan supposed to be doing?
Well, the thing was, I think that kind of made him realize that he doesn't need to watch Luke because Owen and Beru.
But doesn't that sort of canonically, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just like sort of, because,
well, but he wasn't really watching Luke in A New Hope, was he?
Well, I think he was waiting for Luke. I think he knew that there was going to come a time when Luke had to search.
The idea that it opens up these kind of stupid questions tells you how pointless, base, and idiotic it is.
You can
now be the
you're using very strong. You're using very strong words there, but I don't disagree with you. It's like, because what I'm trying to say is, at the end of
it's not pointless. They thought they had a story to tell for them.
And sometimes you argue, is the story to tell to give Leia equal time to Luke in the trilogy? Because if you think about the logic of this, it's Obi-Wan's relationship with Leia is deeper than his relationship with Luke.
Right.
You were never under that impression when you saw the original trilogy.
Well, Luke's attachment to Ben was kind of weird, though.
Luke's attachment to Ben was, he was his surrogate father at that point.
It's kind of weird, though, because that was like in 2 days he became a surrogate father.
But it was his destiny.
He introduced him to a much larger world, man. It's super important in that regard.
He knew his dad.
That's it.
He knew his dad. He knew his dad. Think about that. He was his connection. He realized that he knew his father. He knew all these things. No, he started teaching him the Force.
And again, if you loved the trilogy, Leia didn't need any additional exposition. From the moment you see Leia, she's a badass for whatever reason on her own.
Agreed.
And you love her.
But I just feel, and I'm trying to understand, are you trying to cheapen Obi-Wan's relationship with Luke by doing this? Again,
I don't think they're doing that.
So.
I don't think so either.
I'm just throwing ideas out there because, again, it's like,
I just think that having him, I think exploring his, like, they probably figured maybe there was some kind of history between Obi-Wan and Leia.
Yeah.
If they had, I mean, because like you said, Ben Kenobi, he's here, you know.
Well, no, because I think what they did, and
if they had him doing an adventure with Luke, that's fucking canon break.
That's ridiculous, and I'm glad that wasn't the case. And in the comics, I know that I believe that Obi-Wan has saved Owen or come across Luke at certain points or whatever. And I don't mind like
No, that's
here and
kinda
there.
goofy.
It's like sort of
That's
like,
a little too much.
I look, I don't want to agree with you, George, that he never met. Oh no, already said it. I'm sorry. That Obi-Wan never met Luke. I'm sure that he met him at some point in the 20 years before or 18 years before New Hope. I don't mind that. I just was never under the impression that he met Princess Leia. So you've created this thing. So sort of now people have to do mental leaps. Anyway, we've talked about this ad nauseum.
Well, we had to do mental leaps when Leia said that you served my father under the Clone Wars, and then we never saw him
I
serving.
never had to do a mental leap. I didn't need any exposition.
First of all, you're mental, okay? You do mental whatever the fuck it is you do.
I know. I understood what he was trying to say. I mean, he was a senator. He was in the Senate, and the Jedi worked with the Senate. I didn't. That's the way I took it. I didn't have a problem with that.
That's mental gymnastics too, though.
No, it's not mental gymnastics. This is mental gymnastics where you got to sit there and go.
When you say you served under my father in the Clone Wars, you kind of mean like, oh, dad was a general.
You served my father in the Clone Wars, not under my father. You served my father. The Jedi served the Republic.
That's a stretch.
Okay, the Jedi. No, he was in the Senate. He was Senate.
I don't find a problem with that either.
I don't find a problem with that. I don't. I think I find more of a problem where all of a sudden you're like, okay, you didn't know him, but okay, so you're throwing in a line there at the end, like the way they threw in the lines, like "Goodbye, Darth." Oh, that's why Obi-Wan called him Darth on the Death Star.
Well, yeah, because
wink, 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 wink. Oh, don't let anybody know if you ever need me. Wink, wink. And then he says the line where Prince, when he says about her parents, was really interesting. To me, that was a really powerful moment.
They have to, because
it's a sweet scene.
What do you remember about your father, about your mother? She was very sad.
Beautiful, but sad.
Your mom died in childbirth. You didn't know her.
Force. She has the Force. You could argue. You could head canon. It's the Force.
So
anyway,
you could head canon anything in Star Wars.
Up to a point.
You could head canon quite a bit, but it's a shame when they write it so badly.
They wrote it badly. That's the thing. They wrote there's certain scenes and certain moments. Certain moments they wrote really well.
I can't wait for it to win Emmy.
How's it going to win an Emmy? The boys are going to win all the Emmys.
That's
They're
right.
sticking stuff in butts and blowing shit up with.
Yo, you know what's going to win? You know what's going to win the Emmy?
What?
Severance is going to win the Emmy.
No, it won't. Stranger Things is going to win for episode 4.
Stranger Things might win best writing for episode 4. It won't win the season.
Stranger Things is going to win for best supporting actor by a child. And it's going to be the guy who plays Steve because he's 50 years old.
That's a good one. Anyway, let's move on to Marvel. So, Miss Marvel, how are we loving the show? Liking it? How do we feel about it?
I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I go in and it's a ride every time. It's just tons of fun. The newest episode was really a lot of fun with the wedding. I thought it was great. I thought the introduction of the clandestine is kind of an interesting twist for me. I didn't see that coming anywhere. Like that's going deep into kind of like Marvel lore to find some connective tissue or to bring something, a new group in. And I think that surprised a lot of Marvel heads. And really, as soon as I heard the name, I was like, wow, years of reading comics pays off again. I loved it. And I love the kids. They're all great. I love
I think she's great. I think she's really, really great.
But I love
like
her best friend too. That character is amazing.
Bruno or
the girl.
Brian.
Brian. He keeps getting my name wrong.
No, the girl. I like the girl. She's really opened up a lot of scene time for her this episode.
Nakia?
Well, what's her name? Nakia.
Yeah.
Nakia.
A lot of fun.
I think I actually really, really like the entire family dynamic. I love the mother. Yeah. I love the father.
Brother's hilarious.
He's hilarious, man.
The scene hilarious. The scene with the father and the son right before the wedding when he gives him that whole. I think it's got a lot of heart. It does, and
it's not heavy. Like,
it might get heavy.
I don't expect much. Right? I don't expect much. You're there for a ride. You feel like the show is kind of roller coastery and fun things are going on. Like it's like busy in a fun way. Mm-hmm. Like he jumps from scene to scene and evil people in the background are talking and saying interesting things, and then they give you little like flashback moments, and then you have all the stuff I think is with the grandmother now calling her, like just the whole that they're building a universe within this little family of characters. I'm really having a lot of fun with the show.
Keith, what were you saying?
No, I agree completely. I think it's a lot of fun. It's got a lot of heart. I mean, it comes off a little bit like a Disney Plus.
It's a young adult show.
Which, but I don't mind it. I mean, I think they're doing. It's a fun. I like the dynamic. The family stuff is really great. I like seeing everything you're learning about through their eyes and understanding things. It's well done. It's well done. It's fun. The action is a little cheesy and goofy, but hey, I think overall it's cute.
I gotta tell you, because I rewatched it again today with my daughter, and the Bon Jovi fight in the kitchen, living on a prayer. I thought that was actually a lot of fun. I mean,
the band Brown Jovi,
right?
Brown Jovi.
It's cute. It's obviously it is skewing younger. I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it in the sense of like being an old fart, but I really have to give it up to the lead actress. It's Iman. I forgot I can't pronounce her last name. I'm sorry.
Lana.
Yeah, I think she's amazing.
Yeah, give that guy a freaking $100, man.
I think she's all in it with heart, and as a geek, knowing that she's a Marvel geek as well, who texts Kevin Feige and basically says gives him continuity errors and stuff like that. Give that girl a medal. It's awesome. I think it's great that she's
got back at her though, because she was watching WandaVision on her phone. He goes, "That's not where you're supposed to watch it."
Oh, I didn't see that part, right? And again, I think the unfortunate truth about it is that right now they're saying that it's not. The viewership is really down, and it's like again, it's the lowest rated, not lowest rated, lowest viewed. That's not the right word I'm looking for. Streamed. Of all, Loki is like by far the biggest. It's like at 2.5 million streams for the first few episodes.
I can't even imagine why this would be the case. I can't even imagine.
I just don't understand why. I wonder what it could possibly
be. I mean,
I just, I'm gonna have to really think long and hard about this. Man, I don't know.
I think it has to do with people who watch the Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh no.
I almost feel like the answer is white in front of our faces.
In front of our faces, white
for life, white life.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't heard that when you mentioned that, Vlad, that it was kind of the lowest viewed show. I was surprised. I thought I was hearing something contrary to that, but it's not stopping my enjoyment.
No, and exactly. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm enjoying it. I don't want to say I'm enjoying it more than Obi-Wan, but I go into it, because you have a lot of baggage with Star Wars. But with this, it's like I'm going into it and going, look, you're going to expand the universe. Let's see where you go. But I really feel with this, even more so than sort of the last few things that have come out, like even like I know Shang-Chi, for example, had a big family part to it and all this.
There's some connection there, right? With the 10 rings.
I believe there's a connection with the 10 rings, but
you see it in the first in that episode.
The strongest aspects of this show for me are the family stuff more than anything. The mother's amazing. That whole scene when she's in the bathroom in this last third episode and she kind of calls her over and she cleans her knee and she tells her, it's so emotional. It feels like you're stepping into and seeing a family. It doesn't matter that they're Pakistani or they're Indian or whatever they are. It's a family and there's love there and there's care. And it's like all these challenges that a teenage, I have a teenage daughter. So seeing some of this stuff, you kind of feel it.
I think the thing that they do that's really well done is they don't make a big deal about her being Muslim.
No, they don't.
It's just like an everyday thing, it's not, they don't it's not like that's the only special thing about her,
right.
They're treating her as just another girl going to a high school where thankfully she's not being bullied, which is kind of cool.
Right.
There's always the doofuses or whatever, but it's not like she's being picked on or something.
Yeah.
So is Cameron, so my daughter was asking, he said, I'm trying to understand. So that's her great grandmother, right?
No.
Who is it?
She was one of
Friend.
the beings that were trying to get away. She was with the great grandmother in the beginning. The
Right.
great grandmother.
But I thought those were sisters. They were sisters, weren't they?
I think they say sisters in terms of
Sister. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Right.
but
Okay.
not
So then
related.
Cameron is her son, or he's just
He's her son.
so
That's
okay.
what
So
I got.
she's
They're
not her
long-lived.
cousin. So
No.
no, because
They're
Just
not
cousins.
related.
I thought she's like, because they joke around in the second episode that this is the cousin, and then
Right.
at the end, then
Because she was trying to get away from the fact that she was out on a date.
Right.
yeah, but I thought she was the great
No.
grandmother.
No.
I thought
No.
I'm that maybe
Well,
okay.
the other thing to George's point that he was making before, which I agree with 100%, is they feel like every immigrant first generation family where the kids are kind of getting hippish, awkward, into the tech. The parents are off the boat.
But they do like Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
They
because
do
they're
like
living
Bon
in
Jovi.
America, right? They're trying to, they're happy to be American. That's a happy American family.
Right.
And they've embraced it, and maybe that's because why they're beating review bombed by, the Joe Rogan podcast listeners and, incel subreddit jerk offs.
And apparently, like the
Crypto
main
bros.
characters, like Kamala, Bruno, and the best friend, those are all people from the comic. I mean, obviously Kamala is from the comic, but Bruno's in the comic. They've taken a lot of stuff from I haven't read the comic, so I don't know. But
Yeah.
so I'm excited for it. I guess the big thing is they're building her up so that she moves into the Marvels next year. She's gonna
Well, I
be
don't
with
know
Carol
where
Danvers.
they're going with the story. Like, I don't know where, are they going to introduce the Kree aspect? Are we going to see more of the clandestine, these beings? from
Wait, go
another-
back to the 10 rings. What's the link to the 10
So
rings?
when they show them, they do that flashback, and there's a
Yeah.
man down short in the archaeological place. It's the 10 rings symbol that's in the 10 rings as well.
Yep.
And then when you see the energy around it, they showed how it looked in the 10 rings and how it looked. It's the same energy kind of force. So we'll see how that works out.
So that's
again,
probably linked to Shang-Chi and the 10 rings and everything, right? Yeah, you're right.
It's the same energy. It's alien. It's an alien energy that I guess they're going to start to reveal.
So I'm enjoying it. Well, I think we only have 3 episodes left, right? It's 6.
Yeah, I don't know, again, how they're going to introduce the Kree. I think there's going to be, and I don't know, Vlad, you thought it was going to be the Miss Marvel photon from the WandaVision is going to show up. It won't likely be Miss Marvel.
I don't think you're going to get Carol Danvers in this. You're not going to get Brie Larson in this. I think you'll get Photon. But George, didn't you allude to that potentially? Are we saying there was a rumor that Haley Stanfield was going to be in it?
Yeah, supposedly somebody said that they were a makeup artist for Miss Stanfield.
Oh yeah, in the credits or something.
Or
right?
Ms. Marvel. So and then they took it down immediately. So
Right.
we'll see.
We'll see. So other Marvel news.
Jersey City's not too far from New York. So
That's true.
It's not true. Although they're filming this in Atlanta, right? I think it's
Ugh.
Atlanta.
Before
I
we
hope
move
Marvel
on,
stops that. And Marvel needs to stop filming in Atlanta, but
Yeah.
that's another topic.
other than Marvel news, big news that I think is big news. Didn't Feige say recently in some interview, maybe Variety, where I'm a top fan, of course.
Oh, did
Yeah.
I tell you guys I became a top fan for somebody too? I got it.
All right, but
Yeah, but I got for Paul Tassi. There's a
Oh,
big difference between
that
Paul
fucking
Tassi.
loser, that jerk off for Bungie. There you go. Anyway,
I like
I
Tassi.
like Paul. Paul's great.
He's a sweetheart.
Thank you,
A new
Keith. I
dad.
agree
A
with
new
you.
dad.
Sweetheart.
Bungie's the best. Bungie can't do anything wrong. Bungie makes the best content.
That's not true. He rips on Bungie all the time.
Yeah,
He's
all the time,
Basically,
every episode.
This is
Anyway,
somebody that doesn't read anything, so I'm not really
The big-
surprised if that's what he
he
thinks.
mentioned that Feige mentioned that once Phase 4 is coming to an end, but once it's ending, it's going to be unmistakable where it's going.
It's going to Secret Wars, guys. Come on, it's pretty straightforward. It's going to Secret Wars. They mentioned
But what-
another dimension in Miss Marvel. They've done Multiverse of Madness. They've done No Way Home.
But
The only way this will tie into Secret Invasion is if the dude from Damn It, Agent Cleary, is a Skrull.
Yeah, and they've said right now that that there was some news about Secret Invasion, that there's going to be reshoots, and because of the reshoots with Miss Marvel, the window for when Secret Invasion comes out, I don't know. We don't know yet.
I juggle it.
So come to think about it, that's what that now I think things are starting, the puzzle pieces are starting to come together a bit, because if you go back and you watch WandaVision theoretically sets up two different things. It sets up Secret Invasion because Photon leaves to go to Sword, right? There's the outer space stuff going on there. And then you have obviously what builds into Wanda finishing off with the Darkhold, which leads to Multiverse of Madness. So you have those two different stories going on right now. Loki has obviously what is theoretically the beginning of the Multiverse of Madness by Kang by killing Kang, and then that becomes what it does. And I think we're going, and then obviously you have the word incursion in Multiverse of Madness, which leads to one thing: Secret Wars. And it's in there twice,
I don't
because
know how you do this iteration of Secret Wars without Doom.
who says you won't?
Okay, I'm just saying that.
Secret Wars, but when we're saying Secret Wars is probably another 6 to 7 or 8 years away.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it, man. I'm so old.
No,
No, I mean, look, Phase 4 is ending. Phase 4 is ending when? Next year?
Yeah.
Is it next year? Right? Because next year is Guardians and Quantumania. Marvel's Guardians and Marvel's Quantumania, Guardians and whatchamacallit,
Marvels.
and Miss Marvel. And I don't know what is coming after that. Nothing has been announced. Blade is somewhere down that road. FF is somewhere down that road. And they've said they're going to be at San Diego Comic-Con, and they're probably only going to talk about one thing, which is Wakanda, right?
Well, that's coming too.
That's coming this year.
Yeah.
That comes in November, and then you have, and they'll probably talk about that, and then they'll start teasing what's coming next. But it's going to be
She-Hulk start?
August. And then they haven't announced any other shows yet. I don't know when What If is going to be.
Groot.
Oh, Groot is and the special and the Christmas
I'm
special.
excited for now with the goats.
The goats are the biggest MVPs right now, as far as I'm concerned, because we're switching over to Thor, which I'm excited. It looks good. It looks fun.
I'm excited.
I'm not excited like you. I'm excited. I'm excited because it's another Taika Waititi Thor movie that I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think
It's gonna be
I don't see a
fun.
lot of. I don't see it getting dark for you, Vlad.
I
think it
getting
will.
dark either with the teasers. Like
You think
see
so,
the-
George? You think so? Yeah, I don't know.
If we're gonna go by the Jason Aaron Mighty Thor storyline
It'll get
of
dark.
what goes on with Jane Foster and her cancer, that's dark enough.
Maybe.
But I'm not saying but it's not cosmically dark.
Mhm.
Like it's not. I think we'll see how it
What
goes.
I'm seeing so far, and I may be wrong. Again, I don't know how much they've revealed. This does not feel. It's gore. They're using gore in the same way, but thematically it looks completely different than the comic did. Like the comic was not fun and funny and going to see the Greek gods and pageantry and all of this.
I thought actually it's not the Greek gods, which is the interesting thing.
It's the Olympians.
It's not the Olympians either, apparently.
Who is it?
It's a kingdom of all the mythological gods,
Yeah.
and Zeus is the overseer of them all.
Right, so you get the
Oh.
celestials and all that too.
Yep. That's why you see the celestials in that scene.
Hmm.
Or something similar to celestials.
But again, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I agree with Keith. I don't think it's going to go dark. And the only reason I say that is because the scenes that if you've been watching the snippets at all, I don't know if you want to be spoiled or not, but they're releasing like these 15-second kind of scenes now. And even when they're talking about going to defeat him like that we're on our way to go fight him, or this and that, and some of the scenes, I never get the sense that they even feel there's a threat.
Mhm.
You know, and I'll be happy if they go dark. I'll be happy if they handle the cancer aspect with Jane Foster in a very respectful and interesting way. I just see it as being Ragnarok-ish more than I
Oh,
thought.
I think it'll be right. And the reviews, I mean, not the reviews, like the first reactions have been overwhelmingly positive, which is fine. You know, it's there's been some people that said it's not as good as Ragnarok. It's good, but it's not as good as Ragnarok. Other people say like they laughed, they cried, which kind of
They have the goats. It's going to be better than Ragnarok. just by
dude,
that.
the goats alone need to be
Better than Ragnarok.
the goats alone. I'm sorry, the minute they fucking started screaming in that
Oh
trailer,
my God, that was hilarious.
I'm
lost
sorry,
my
the
shit.
goats making me give it 8 out of 10 already.
The goats are the handicap that they've already kicked it up. They've already kicked it up because I'm like, nope. Goats,
And
you
from what
got
I understand, they're going to be used in Guardians of the Galaxy, the special.
Yep.
they
That's
should
awesome.
be.
That's awesome.
See, I'm actually contemplating that I have to get the Lego set. Did you guys see there's a Lego set?
No.
But
And I'm like, I got to get it because I got to build those goats.
Well, if they
I'm
do
just-
sideshow versions of the ghosts or whatever, I'll get them for
you
you.
guys put 2 and 2 together for a second.
What?
That means that the Guardians are in the last fight.
No way.
No, I don't think they are.
No.
How do they get the goats?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. It's something as if like I've heard that the Guardians are basically blink and you miss them. They're in for the first 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then they're gone. I mean, if you watch the story, if you look at the story, and even the way that the trailer's done, I think it's another one of those bait and switch things where he goes, "We were building a team.
Mhm.
Like we got Korg. He's my best friend, and then we have like my ex-girlfriend. Then we have what's her name, Valkyrie.
How could you forget Valkyrie?
No,
She was that Blade.
yeah. Well, and that's what's his name? Oh, the Blade, and then she's also good.
God.
And apparently, like Guns N' Roses music
I had
is
an
throughout the
aneurysm.
entire
That's all right. It works for Thor, I guess.
I guess. But I think the Guardians are only in it for the beginning. And then I think it's going to be like one of those things that Thor's got to go on a mission or something. He goes like, you got to take care of the goats right now or something for something. It'll be some ridiculous thing. I don't think they're in the final battle.
The best thing that could happen is the goats eat Rocket.
Why?
It'd just be fun. Just, hey, where's Rocket? Who's flying this thing? Burp.
Right?
Burp.
Because that would have been terrible.
I want them to be, while they're cosmically traveling through space, to be screaming. I want them to be screaming while they're that's it. So I'm excited about that. I mean, that's coming out next week, right? It's coming out on
Got
the
my
8th.
ticket.
Wait, when's it coming out?
You don't
The 8th.
know?
They're July 8th.
We're gonna have to have another podcast just to talk about you going to see it and
I'm
going
going
to
to go
get
see that. Me and my
You gotta go
wife.
get your-
First showing.
and you got to go sit and have your fucking feast like King Louis the 15th or 88th or whatever, like a
So
big.
what's the other Thor news that we got to talk about?
Well, the rumor is that one of the post-credit scenes introduces Hercules, and apparently for those Ted Lasso fans out there, it may be
Can't see my ticket.
Roy fucking Kent. He's here,
Yeah.
he's there, he's everywhere. From Ted Lasso, Brett Goldstein.
It's weird who we put on pedestals in this world. Just any bad show because everybody's watching it.
Oh, man.
We all run behind each other,
Here we go.
sticking our fingers, twiddling everybody's balls as we're walking, or sticking thumbs in asses, making people fucking heroes. Who is this guy? How can he be Hercules?
Okay.
In what universe does this man, tough guy on Ted Lasso, I know he's really got some great zingers there, really scene
Does
stealing.
he have the physique though? I mean,
Yeah, he does,
Whoa,
skinny
wait,
little-
let's stop there for a second.
Yeah, let's make it easy.
Did Chris Pratt have the physique?
Nobody
For
expected
Star-Lord?
Star-Lord, right, in a jacket to be the epitome of masculinity. Hairy, bare-chested, bearded out, broad and big and Greek as they get.
Did you forget that this is? Do you really think they're going to go for that? They're going to go
Of
the
course they
same
can
way.
go for it.
Okay.
Why do Hercules if you're not going to do that?
Because they maybe want to do something completely
No,
different.
you don't do something different with Hercules. You bring Hercules in for one reason.
First of all, do you know? I mean,
First of all, wait,
let's
why even-
first of all, Jane Foster in this movie, Natalie Portman is like 5'2" or
Right.
whatever. She's really small. Do you know that they digitally enhanced her by like 9 inches, so she's a lot
Okay.
taller?
What are they going to do for this Ted Lasso?
They've enhanced people's arms in these movies.
Mhm.
You don't think they would do something like that?
So you think this guy was a good choice for Hercules, the Prince of Power?
I don't. First of all, let's
This is what
find
you
out.
think. This is what you envisioned.
No,
All the
I
years
didn't.
we've been friends, and I've talked about Hercules with you, and we've had a lot of
Maybe you'll be-
conversations.
Maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I don't think I will. Not if he's going to be Hercules. I'll stop seeing Marvel movies. I'm done.
You will not stop seeing Marvel movies. Shut up.
What if he's really
You'll-
great?
What if he's
Great
really
at
great?
what?
Being the prince of
No, he cannot be the Prince of. He cannot be Hercules.
Well, okay, we could turn around and say that you're immediately sort of pigeonholing somebody, and you're what's
I'm not doing that at all. Let him go do his Ted Lasso. What's his name on the show?
Doesn't matter what his name
Ken
is. on the show.
Shakespeare, Kenny
No,
Boy.
Roy Kent.
Right? He's excellent. He's amazing. He's the best guy ever. They do 10-minute, deep cut edits of his one-liners and tough guy, talk. Let them do that with him. I'd rather see George Costanza.
How do you
As
know?
Hercules.
How do you know? I mean,
What do you mean, how do I know?
Can I ask you, wait, why even bother arguing with him?
Because I'm right.
You're not. You're an idiot.
He thinks I'm right.
You spew shit about things you know
I
nothing
don't know the
about.
actor well enough. So
What do you mean?
You basically are the Joe Rogan podcast, where you just spew out shit about things you don't know about, but you do it with authority. So
But
that
we
when
do know something.
your
Vlad, edit in a
ignorance is
picture
not
of
as
this
good
guy.
as somebody else's
he
expertise.
looks?
on-
First of all, from a facial expression, from his face, if he has the beard and stuff like that, I'm not talking about his body from here.
Yeah,
He's hairy as fuck. He's hairy as fuck.
All right, you're done.
You look like.
Stop.
Just shut up. Fuck you. I'm done. Fuck you. I'll fucking turn you off right now. I'll turn you off right now. I'll kick you off the podcast. Don't give me that shit.
You should do that. We'll double our viewership.
What, the two
5.
people?
No, but what's the point? I understand
You
what
gotta
he
be
looks like.
square-jawed, charismatic, fun, funny. Like
Artie,
me
I
if
don't
had
need to know
Like-
about your fucking grinder dates. Okay, just stop.
Like-
Okay, 'Cause-
Here, edit the headband and some hair on.
no, you look like a dwarf. You look like a fucking dwarf, and you should be in fucking hidden in the mountain digging out fucking diamonds. No, okay,
Wait for him to put him in the Lord of the Rings show.
right.
You like this casting?
I didn't say I like the actor. I love the character that he plays on the thing. Here's the only problem is it reeks of, sorry, George. It reeks of Taika if that's the case. It's like stunt, like going against type. We're going to do something crazy like that.
Well, I mean, let's just for the sake of argument, because first of all, that site that's the only site that mentioned it.
No,
And then
but I've seen on Reddit that people.
I didn't
said-
see it. I don't trust Reddit, as we could tell by your spoilers that you got for Doctor Strange. Anyway, they also said that Ewan McGregor is joining the MCU.
Well, that's a new one.
Then Natalie Portman's going to do a Padme series. They're throwing out all sorts of rando shit. So I mean, take that with a grain of salt. And second of all, did anyone ever look at Chris Hemsworth on that Australian soap opera and go, shit, that guy's going to make a really good Thor? No.
Who didn't
No.
think he was going to make a great Thor? I never saw him before I saw Thor, and as soon as I saw him, he was Thor.
Yeah, you did. He was George Kirk he was George Kirk at the beginning of Star Trek. And he was not built like he was in fucking.
All the casting was perfect.
So
This guy is not perfect.
Did you see what Chris Pratt looked like?
That's what Vlad just said.
Did you see what Chris Pratt looked like?
What do you mean, Chris Pratt?
He was
Nobody
chunky.
cared what
Chris
Star Wars
Pratt.
looked
What?
like.
What?
Here we go again.
But he still got into the ridiculous shape that he was supposed to get into.
All right. Well, this guy could do some push-ups and go do something else.
Dude, he's gonna have like if it's him, he's gonna have like the collective power of fucking Marvel behind him, and they're gonna get him. Dude, what's his name?
Johnny, the guy
in,
who was
in Eternals was a fucking stick.
Yeah,
And
I'd rather he play Hercules.
I wish he did.
I can't believe you, Vlad. You're Greek.
What about it?
Don't you care how we're represented?
I first of all, he looks more Greek than I do.
What does that got to do with anything? He looks like a Malacca.
Artie,
Only the kettle black.
It's like you're just pissed because they didn't choose you. Okay, you're still
First
waiting
of all,
for
you're
your
5'1". They're not going to choose you.
Huck. When they introduce Alpha
This guy's
Flight,
not much taller. He's only 5'6".
dude, it doesn't matter. It's all done with movie magic, dude. That they did. Seriously.
Vlad, you
Next, you're gonna tell me pissed off. Is Bradley Cooper a raccoon in real life?
Vin
Is
Diesel.
Vin Diesel a tree?
Well, he is. He's kind of wooden.
He's
So.
kind of wooden. Come on, seriously.
Hey, I know you guys like Dread. Did you guys like Bloodspot?
What?
No.
That was pretty bad.
Bloodshot.
Bloodshot.
Can't even get the fucking title right.
Is that the one with Vin Diesel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, no. Please.
All right. So we all agree this guy's should not be Hercules.
No, we didn't say we.
He should be Hercules.
He should be
I
Hercules.
think he's going to be the best Hercules, and I hope they make him write it too, because that way it'll be written really funny.
And I hope he's Hercules a la Roy Kent, like he doesn't give a shit.
Let me ask you a question.
Hope he
If I go
curses
to
a lot as
if I go
Hercules.
see Thor in 2 weeks, whenever it comes out,
Next
and
week.
I see that in the post-credit scene with this doorknob as Hercules, I will walk out of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
That's the end of the movie.
That's the end. You're walking out at the end of the fucking movie. Genius.
I'm walking out.
Can I just?
I'll join you in that, Artie. I'm gonna walk out.
I'm gonna walk out just as the credits end. I'll show them. Wait, no, I gotta take a doggy bag with all the food that I didn't eat because I was choking out of excitement. Oh, look at the goat! Ah!
Basically, the goat is already during Crucible.
Fuck you.
Hey, Artie, go sleep, goats.
Go sleep, goats. Galibaro.
You don't just wait. Let's see. We said the same thing about Robert Pattinson as Batman, and he was perfectly
don't
fine.
bring up that shit. Who cares? Everybody's been Batman already. I mean, come on.
He has a point there.
Tig Notaro hasn't been Batman yet. Okay, come
Look.
on, man.
Look.
Elliot
we-
Page.
Oh God. Don't get you started.
Hannah Gatsby. Tig Notaro as Batman.
All right. Do we gotta one last thing that we have to admit though? We talked a lot during this episode about a lot of important stuff. We all agreed that Obi-Wan sucked. We all agreed that this guy playing Hercules is trash. Miss Marvel's amazing. What other news?
I don't think we're synergizing the way that you think we're synergizing their revenue cycle leader, man.
Was there any other news?
The only other news that came out that we wanted to kind of quickly touch on is like the rumor that John Krasinski, who played Reed Richards in Multiverse of Madness, is potentially not going to be. He was a one and done.
I heard it was because of the age thing.
Age thing?
Yeah, because he's like in Multiverse, he's an older Reed Richards, but they want to do like a younger Reed Richards.
I think it's going to suck.
Marvel
I
movie.
personally think it's going to suck because I think fans wanted him as Reed Richards.
Mhm.
I don't know. They did the younger version with Miles Teller in that horrible Fantastic Four movie. Did anybody
He's not
actually?
a good actor to begin with, Miles Teller.
I enjoyed Whiplash, but that's not really his show. It was J.K. Simmons.
It was J.J. Jameson's show in that
It was
one.
J.K. Simmons. Really was. Yeah.
J.J. Jameson.
J.J. What's your take on that, Artie? What do you think?
Nothing.
You weren't excited to see Reed Richards in the Multiverse
No,
of
I was
Madness?
super excited, but if he's too much of a big star and has important stuff
It's
to do,
not. Did you just hear what Keith said?
no, he's got to go produce Quiet Place 37 in the Quiet Place multiverse.
Keith,
This is
can
what I
you
love.
speak up again to just
I heard that they want to cast someone younger.
okay?
Yeah.
Hey Gimli, take the horn out of your ear so you can hear a little bit better.
Listen,
If
if Marvel, somebody at Marvel does that, they're a complete and utter moron, and that would be a reason for me to depart from loving the Marvel universe.
Thank God. I don't have to wipe the jizz off my screen anymore.
I'm talking.
I always take a very nuanced approach to when I hear news. And I really want to I really want to dive deep and think about these things, put my keen intellect to work, trying to understand about the decisions that Marvel's making. And I don't think I can do it with the things going on these days. I just can't. I can't.
It seems to be a quite huge quandary for such a huge intellect to have to deal with. Stop, dude. I can't.
Stroking the beard.
Stroking the beard. Anything else we could say before we can jump off this epic 20th?
No comic
episode?
news.
Thank God. I don't want to
Nothing
hear
came out of
about
Heroes
that.
Con
You have
interesting
another
for me to
comic
kind of
book
bring
news.
up. I didn't hear any interesting news.
Herogasm episode in The Boys this past Friday.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Best
Boys
thing
is
I've
the show. The Boys is the show that you should be watching and you're not already. Evil is a
Not
show
gonna
that
watch
everybody
it.
on this podcast should be watching.
It's too much on his feeble brain to deal with because he can't.
I'm
take the
excited
nuance.
for Sandman. I think that's the next show I'm kind of interested in.
We'll talk about that later in the summer as it gets closer.
I'm sorry, did I bring up the wrong topic now? All of a sudden?
Yeah, you did bring up the wrong topic. It's
Well,
first of all, I don't know how that's actually sticking in your head. You have so many important things to be sort of like pondering. Again,
Yeah, I've been
I'm
watching-
surprised. You know what it is? Ever since you got that penis gash on the top of your forehead,
Fuck you.
your knowledge starts dripping out like smegma.
Scooping out. But I'm gonna go on a rant, so you might want to end the podcast because now I just thought of something that pissed me off.
I want to keep it in because we'll see
So
if it's
Dungeons
good.
and Dragons.
No.
No, I have to say this about Vecna.
What about Vecna?
Well, they decided to reintroduce Vecna to this generations of fans and did this ultimate version of Vecna that is the most un-Vecna I've ever fucking seen. It's an embarrassment to us old fans of D&D. It's like, again, once you get...
I have to put a disclaimer on. I have to start putting the disclaimer on these podcasts about sudden movements, sudden head movements could cause epileptic seizures. It's like Vecna.
I figured it out. We're in a generation where the people who are holding on to these fan favorite properties, iconic things, just have never read anything about them, witnessed it firsthand, watched it or read about it, and they're just writing whatever bullshit they want.
That's happening on a lot of shows. Yes.
Yeah, comic books has been there for 20 years now.
You know what I'm going to insert right over here? A huge picture of Grandpa Simpson, old man yelling at clouds, because that's what's. I'm not disagreeing with you, but it's like, what did you think was
First of
going
all,
to
I
happen?
never yell.
And with that, everybody, we love you.
Wait.
We love you. Look at this guy. He's giving you a heart. He's giving me a heart attack. Okay. Take care, everybody. We love
Thank you
you
for watching, everyone.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you, princess.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, Artie. I failed you. Artie. I'm sorry.
You all did because you like that show, even one iota.
Dude, you're a little harsh.
what did I
If
say?
I go back, your first episode, you were like, I loved it. I enjoyed this. It was
Yeah,
really
but I'm
good.
talking about what the last episode did.
I thought the last again, we talked about this. Take care, everybody. We love you. Bye-bye. See you next week.